Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on how ethics will change the future of technology. I'm Novita, your host, and I'm excited to get you through this engagement and informative event. Please keep your microphone mute and camera on throughout the session. Before we begin, I'd like to thank for IFNTUOG Target Technical University of Oil and Gas from Ukraine, Mandakh University from Mongolia, Western Caspian University from Azerbaijan, and our valued speaker for supporting this webinar. Welcome to the Honorable Professor Polyanska Alla Stepanivna as the Head of Department Management and Administration, to the Honorable Ms. Nomin Tsembel as a Lecturer Department of Accounting and Analysis from Mongolia, to the Honorable Ms. Parvin Huseynov, Mr. Parvin Huseynov, as an instructor at Department of Programming and Information Security from Azerbaijan, and to the Honorable Mr. Migunani M.Kom as a Head Information System Department from STEKOM, Indonesia. And last but not least, also to the honorable guests and audience today. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping notes here. Today's session is being live streamed on Universitas STEKOM YouTube channel. For today's event, we will start with Indonesia national anthems and continue with the opening speech by Dr. Teguh Santoso as a rector of STEKOM University. Over the next few minutes, we have a thought-provoking agenda that will dive deep into the real of how ethics will change the future of technology, and continue with the Q&A session, take a picture for documentation, and last time for closing. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, faculty member, and dear participants, a warm welcome to the opening ceremony of the webinar international event. We are gathered here today for the mark the beginning of this significant event, and we would like to commence the proceeding by honoring our nation with the singing of the Indonesian national anthems. For the operator today, you can start this session. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are honored to have a distinguished personality with us today who has played a pivotal role in shaping our institution academy excellence and grow. It's now my pleasure to welcome the esteemed Dr. Teguh Santoso to deliver the opening speech represented by Mr. Edi Jogatama Purhita as the Head of Visual Communication Design Department. For Mr. Edi, the time is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, scholar, and participants from around the world, good afternoon and welcome to this prestigious international webinar event. I stand before you today with great honor and privilege as a representative of STEKOM University, instead of our esteemed rector, who due to unforeseen circumstance could not be here with us today. Nevertheless, I assure you that the spirit of our university and the commitment to this international webinar event remain unwavering. Today, we gather here virtual from across the globe, united by a common purpose to engage in meaning dialogue, share knowledge, and foster collaboration on how ethics will change the future of technology, a topic of paramount importance today. Despite the physical distance that separates us, the digital realm has brought us together in a way that transcends borders. This is a testament to the power of technology and the importance of continuous learning and global connections. I want to thank all the participants, distinguished speakers, and the organizing committee for your dedication and enthusiasm in making this event a reality. Your presence here demonstrates your commitment to advancing knowledge and addressing our world challenges. Throughout this webinar, we have the privilege of hearing from experts and thought leaders who will share their insights, experience, and expertise on how ethics will change the future of technology. Please actively participate, ask questions, and engage in discussion to maximize this valuable opportunity. As we progress with today's discussion, let us remember that exchange idea collaboration across borders is essential in finding innovative solutions to global issues. Let us harness the collective wisdom of this diverse audience to drive positive change in our respective fields. In closing, I want to reaffirm our commitment to the participants of education, cooperation, and international understanding that bring us together today. Let us honor the principle by actively engaging in the upcoming sessions and forging the new connection that will endure beyond the confines of this virtual event. Thank you for your attention. And without further delay, let us begin this international webinar on how ethics will change the future of technology. I am confident to our shared pursuit of knowledge, no bonds. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this opening ceremony. Our next segment promised to genuinely enlightening, as we have 4 distinguished speakers to share their valuable insight and expertise on our chosen topic. Without further ado, let me introduce our esteemed speaker. Now, let's please welcome our first presenter, Mr. Parvin Huseynov, as an instructor at Department of Programming and Innovation Security from Western Caspian University, Azerbaijan. For Mr. Parvin, the time is yours. Thank you.
You're welcome. And first of all, welcome to everyone. I'm very glad to be a participant of such an beautiful event, such an international event. Today, this topic is probably the most important topic of the future shaping topics. And of course, I would really like to share my thoughts on this. And I know also my esteemed colleagues will help us to acknowledge about this. And I would like to answer the questions too. I represent the Western Caspian University. I'm an instructor at Department of Information Security and Programming. And though I'm quite young, actually, I like to catch the generation's hype on this topic, because especially in the younger generation, we need to teach this kind of topic, because it's important to acknowledge the the people in society, because it's important to give the knowledge of that, how the future will shape in itself. So we will help, of course, as instructors, we will help to shape it. And besides being instructor, actually, as a person who is individual, we would like to contribute to future. Of course, this topic will be interesting. I'm excited to talk. Thanks. Should I just start, or?
Would you mind starting by sharing your presentation, Mr. Parvin?
Of course. If you are ready, let's start. Does my screen show icon? Okay. Hope it works. Okay, let's start. Let's dive into the topic of how ethics will change the future of technology. Of course, it's a complicated topic when it comes to the details, but right now I will try to explain in a nutshell. Let's start from the table of contents, what we're gonna go through. First of all, I will try to make a quick introduction to this topic, and then emerging technologies and risks, ethical considerations, and etc. Also solutions and case studies we will explore. With your allowance, I want to start. Let's start as an introduction. Please don't hesitate, by the way, at the end of the presentation to ask any questions. And let's start from introduction. What is emerging technology? Actually, if you want to shape the future with the help of ethics, we would let's start to establish the understanding of ethics impacts on technology. So emerging technologies are important stuff that are developing and deploying today. And nowadays, they are important because they came even to our houses, our home. So we need to emphasize the important sides of emerging technologies. First of all, we embrace innovation, and also we must also consider the ethic impacts of emerging technologies. So they are evolving rapidly, and what kind of problems can we have in the future if they are evolving rapidly? So the one of them, as the most important one, I would rather say, is ethical problem, of course. And if you want to just analyze anything, it doesn't matter it's ethical or something else. It's better always to know as a reference from the history and back in time. When we go to history, we will see the difference and change and challenges on technology, and we can ask some serious questions to develop it into a new shape. I would rather call it ethics, like technology plus ethics, and how ethics started, and we actually can kind of answer this question by observing the history. For example, let's start from the science itself. You know, when we say technology, it doesn't mean always the computers or supercomputers. It means the technology can derive itself from the vehicles, for example, autonomous vehicles, and the other type of physical approach of science. So think about the development of atomic bomb during World War II, in which time the world confronted a significant moral implications, which led us to think about it. We all know Robert Oppenheimer. Lately, I guess there was a famous movie called Oppenheimer and released. It was really popular, and it's just acknowledging the people. But actually, Robert Oppenheimer, as we know, he was just one person who was a normal between the society. So, and I'm sure his proposals weren't just destroying the world with the help of anything mass destruction, for example. But yet, how he just managed the process, and it came to the killing so many people just because of, let's say, deploying the new technology. So as we know, these people also led the world into something really new. I couldn't say that it's completely bad, but it's we can call it a bad experience, because if we want to improve our technology, we shouldn't just do randomly and or in a way that's possible, which these persons did exactly what I said we shouldn't do. And Hitler and this person, as you can see, Joseph Mengele, as we already know, who was also so-called death angel of death, and made some significant impacts on the technological side of biology, for example, but with really hard and horrible experiences. So we can question the technology and also science at some point. Should we improve, or should we just stop the improving process? But before saying that, and before asking that kind of question, actually we must ask something different. Or if right or wrong change over time. It's important because when you see this throughout history and back in time, for example, in the medieval centuries and also in the old age, you could observe that something happens and it's nowadays it's an act of violence, but at that time it's pretty normal. For example, in old times, people used to sacrifice other peoples to the gods, which was quite normal for that period. So this is ethics or ethical side of that period. And when you had a chance to go back in time, you would go and you would be surprised to see some actings that people actually do, which is not ethical side of your community, but it's okay for them. So what happens? Why and this kind of violating acts changed over time? What's made them change? That's actual question. For example, in another instance of this situation, if we go back in time to medieval century, we could see that so many people who took their kids to watch of beheading people. For example, let's say the city of Paris streets, because it was normal to watch it, but right now nowadays it is not normal. It's non-ethical thing, and so we can say that something really changed the ethical sides over time. So what was that, and what can actually impact, and how people manage this? I think my approach is technology is the biggest impact of changing the ethics over time, because by improving the things that we already achieved, we actually improve our acting of behaviors. So if the technology decides what is wrong or what's right, so we must focus on the nowadays technology, which is called, as I said again, emerging technology. So let's start to demonstrate the emerging technologies, and let's learn what they are actually. Of course, we know what they are, but in deeply how they're going to be shaped in the future. For example, let's say that these pictures, as you can see, I didn't do or I didn't download any of these pictures. They weren't on internet. I just asked AI to generate these sentences as prompt and create me new pictures. So even when I talk about AI, I just used AI. So it just shows how fast it adapts our life quickly. And of course, they have benefits besides that, and they have drawbacks. Two examples to emerging technologies, we can say artificial intelligence, blockchain, and also gene editing. There are some serious problems, not say problems, they can just bring some serious problems to humanity. So how can we just prevent this kind of problems? Of course, we must consider these risks, and we must mitigate them. So let's dive into one, of course, this is called artificial intelligence. And here again, these pictures are not downloaded from the internet. I just created all the pictures. And also, this time I used some other AI. It's called a Google Bard AI, as you know. And I wanted to make a I wanted to create a tragicomedical quote about humanity, and it responded in a very quick and in a very smart way. It says, yeah, it's so smart it can even laugh. It can even make humans laugh, which is kind of tragicomedical because it shows us like a human approach to animal approach. So let's see what happens when we dive into even more. Artificial intelligence have, of course, significant impacts on our lives, and it's almost a problem-solving thing. And but it brought some significant problems such as privacy, bias, and accountability, which must raise the concern about ethics. So what can happen when we talk about privacy and bias? Facial recognition is important symbolized side of artificial intelligence drawback, because there are lots of things actually we can do with the help of face recognition, but it has the potential to improve security. And also it also raises concerns about the privacy and bias, how it can raise a concern about that. I researched about all the projects, and I found one useful, which was led by Gender Shade Projects in 2018, I guess. And in this project, we can see that 4 subjects group are divided into, and from the darker male, I mean the skin tone, from the darker female to lighter male, it happens in the accuracy data. Of course, we know AI face recognition collects all the data from the internet, and actually we create that data. But here we can see how biased AI can be and how discriminative AI can be. So as you can see, the most accuracy, so the most accurate rate has lighter male, and then lighter female, and then darker male, and the least accuracy and also the most errorable thing, errorable statistic is situated in darker female, which is probably not good, and it shows the signs of discriminative side of artificial intelligence. And that was actually conducted by big companies such as Microsoft, Face++, and IBM, and also Amazon. Unfortunately, face recognition artificial intelligence can lead some serious problems, such as putting the people randomly to jails. And for example, in this case, I researched about Project Green Lights in Detroit, and as we can see, the Black population in Detroit in USA, there are lots of people. But this discrimination shows itself in the cameras too. For example, let's say it shows, as you can see in the map, these are the Project Green Lights partner, and you can see the census data, which are showing us that all the black people are researched by camera. Normally, almost every part of the city, but the Asian or other type of human skin, they are just in some other parts, and it's really less number rather than the black population. So even one of this case happens, and we also know after the George Floyd, there were so many people's reaction out there, and also after that there was some person who was accused because of the facial recognition, and just got into jail because of stealing watch. Actually, that was a wrong information provided by AI face recognition, but it was too late when they find out, and probably that person lost almost 20 or 30 days just because of being wrongfully accused by algorithm. And that's another concern about the biased side of artificial intelligence. So other emerging technologies are autonomous vehicles. Of course, autonomous vehicles just a fantastic applying of physical science, and they do the things that we cannot do physically. They do the things that we cannot probably make happen in 1 year labor. But it also raises some concerns about the privacy, and also some concerns about the other type of ethical drawbacks. For example, if you want to question the situation, who's responsible if an autonomous vehicle causes an accident or incident? It also raises concerns about that. And so how can we just how can we program the autonomous vehicle in different situations? For example, there's a famous problem in psychology and also ethics. It's called trolley problem. Trolley problem is kind of problem that you have to decide, and actually it's popular in decision making too. And it's kind of problem that shows us to choose between two choices, not always easy, and it's not always sunshine and roses. So how can we choose actually? And even as we humans, we know we are more emotional rather than artificial intelligence or other autonomous vehicles. But in this problem, of course, some of you know, or maybe some of you don't know about that. But I can explain in a nutshell that there are two ways, and you have to pass through. In one way, there is only one person, and in another way, there are lots of persons who lay down the train pass. And what are you going to do in this kind of stressful situation? Even the humans can't answer. So how AI will react to this kind of stressful situation? This is another concern about decision making of autonomous vehicles, and it will again lead us to ethical problems. And also there is another, by the way, this picture is also designed and generated by AI, which is so famous, called DALL-E. I use DALL-E to demonstrate all the photos. And I created this problem myself, probably a while ago. It's called I called it a monster surgeon problem. I used to watch a series called Japanese animation called A Monster, which was all about a serial killer, and there was a kind of a tough station to decide again. Let's create that scene in our imaginary. It's kind of like two patients are coming to hospital, and there are only two doctors that can help them, and they are both deadly injured. And one of them is child, unfortunately, and the other one is the person who's a high-ranked person in society, and it's important to save him too. So how can you decide? And also one of the doctor is a very skilled doctor, and he probably will save the person that he treats. But the other doctor, we are not sure if he will save or not. So many of them will choose probably the child, or maybe some of them will try to think in a radical way to save the high-ranked person who is responsible for commuter's problem. But actually, in the series, you can also watch, it's really interesting. In series, the doctors choose the child to save, and that high-ranked person dies. But unfortunately, when that child grows up, he becomes a serial killer. So you can't just decide the results. You can't just decide this choices. So in this kind of tough situation, we can't just decide. But how will AI do? That's the problem, because we actually start to demand to solve the problems that we can't actually do ourselves in nearly not nearest probability, but AI must be able to solve this problem somehow. And also data collecting and illegal transporting are the serious problems of autonomous vehicles, because autonomous vehicles will be in our daily life, and they will try to collect lots of data, and maybe some companies will take advantage of this processing. I mean, the data collecting. And also illegal transporting is an issue, because when you have, for example, let's make an example from the real world again, not the future. So we have drone technology, and you can use the drone and you can do so many things. You can watch people at their home, you can watch people at their secret place, and you can collect so many data from them, which is illegal to do that. But unfortunately, some people take advantage of this situation. Another problem that autonomous vehicles will bring is job displacement, because job displacement not will bring, actually it comes also, as we can see that some autonomous problems are already solved by artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles perfectly nearly. And approximately, I made some statistics about that. I researched, and I will show, of course. Again, I asked to AI. This time I used a different AI to make a new quote about this situation, and it's really showed some, I would rather say, emotional statement. And it just says that it takes their place, and the office will be empty, and the other stuff. And let's see the statistics by AI, job displacement by AI in a decade. So we can see the most affected field is manufacturing, which is possibly real, because manufacturing demands so much physical jobs. So the second place is transportation, which we already know that even some taxes, besides the taxes, some delivery robots are already available. For example, in Estonia, you can see the Bolts are using the robots to deliver the packs. And of course, other fields will be affected from this job displacement. And what can we do about job displacement? Of course, I have solutions, and I have offers, actually, and there may be solutions, and actually they are probably common solutions that every human being will think about them. For example, first of all, invest in training and reskilling programs. And why do we need that? Because when AI or autonomous vehicles take place of us, and when job displacement happen, we actually have to learn some new skills. And in order to learn some new skills, I offered the third job, which is ensure that everyone has access to education in AI economy, which requires for everyone to have an access to AI learning. With the help of AI nowadays, for example, if you want to learn a new language, with the help of AI, you can learn really faster. It will create for you probably the syllabus. It will create you materials for every day, maybe vocabulary, 10 words in a day. It will always send daily reports, your progress. So it's like a life assistant. So it will make easier your jobs on learning something new. Instead of taking the AI as an enemy or just as a rival, we can use it as a tool to learn some new skills that we don't need to apply artificial intelligence. And also, we must develop in almost every case of happening these ethical issues, like developing the policies that ensure the AI are shared widely, which is the same result that I said earlier. And promote transparency and accountability is important too, because without transparency and accountability, you can't just build a better shape it in the future. Besides that, transparency is the most important thing for me. When you think of the operating system, they were the emerging technologies. It's late of 80s and also 70s. They were significant improvement of technological side of humanity. But some operating system, as we know, they weren't open source. For example, Linux was open source, and that's why it's improved. Right now, we know lots of distro versions of Linux operating system. That's because it's open sourced, which shows that transparency in technology is helpful, actually. And biotechnology and ethics will intersect in some points, and also they started to intersect rather than other topics. It has it hasn't showed itself in ethical side, but I'm sure it will show it. And also some popular shows and TV series start to show the future in a biotechnological way. And it's better we care about the concerns that we may raise. Okay, what can happen? Emerging problems, let's list of them. Creating a new forms of life, also it's called a synthetic biology. It's a serious problem because when we create a new form of life, we don't know what do we create, and we can't just know the drawbacks of the things that hasn't created ever yet. For example, we can use it in a beneficial way. For example, curing the cancer tumors, it's a good way to use for biology and also microbiology. But for example, we can create a new laboratory environmental virus which will cause maybe another pandemic. And also there's a conspiracy that last pandemic was created in a laboratory environment. But again, it's just conspiracy. That is not like right information. Gene editing, of course, that's a serious problem. Actually, that's the most ethical problem I have ever seen in biological side, because if you are able to change and modify the gene, it will raise so many questions. So how you will decide the perfect man? Also, I just noted that inequality in being Uberman. So how can we just specify the Uberman concept? Uberman concept, we can also call Superman. I didn't call Superman because it's like a fictional character. I wanted to emphasize Uberman. Inequality. For example, for rich people, it will be easy to make themselves healthier, but for poor people of humanity, it will be really they will be in a bad situation to provide the biological benefits of creating your or enhancing your physical advancements. So it will be a problem too, but it's more futuristic rather than the other ones. And how can we prevent? Of course, we have to be responsible in development of synthetic biology. For example, when we create a synthetic meals for eating, we must be able to detect them, and we must make sure that they won't harm us on health care. And also, of course, we have to have a guidelines in every aspect of making the ethics even wider. We always have to install guidelines for every aspect of ethical problems. And again, we have to have ethical guidance for gene editing. For example, we can't just change the gender by birth. We can't change some significant things. For example, I don't know, some biological functions of humanity we can't change. So they must be regulations. And blockchain is not actually a futuristic issue, but it also happens in our life earlier rather than all the problems. Yet we have some problems in blockchain technology. Yeah, we have, but they are just less rather than the other ones. Of course, they have questioning marks like energy consumption, identity reputation, privacy, and data security, which is so important nowadays. And also cryptocurrency scams and fraud. As you know, some ransomware problems will raise some questions about paying the ransomware with the help of cryptocurrency, and which will lead us to some significant problems again. And this is another perspective of popular science about the ethical side of the technology. And you can also watch, it's called Black Mirror, and also this one is called Westworld. I just wanted to demonstrate. And also we have the same kind of solutions here. Regulation, innovation, education, of course, awareness are important. And virtual reality is another type of problem that we can suffer in the future if we want to improve this ability. We will have similar problems just like we lived in artificial intelligence. For example, this guy is this scientific person is creator of Oculus, which is well known for creating this kind of VR technologies, and he created a new game which will cause to you to die when you lose in the game, which is horrible even to think about it. And Internet of Things are part of autonomous vehicles, of course, and social media is another side of this problem. And cyberbullying, addiction, and mental health, and all other stuff will lead us to significant important statistics about data, for example, leaked every day, and 3 million, nearly 4 million data leaked every day, which is a serious problem. We must have some regulations, at least thanks to GDPR, which takes some control over it. And unfortunately, some companies will sell a certainty. What does it mean? So certainty mean like they will just take all the data from you, and they will analyze, and they will sell data of yours, and they will make some money over it. And you can see some companies that use your data according to which field, for example, face recognition, product recognition, and your context. They will just use in lots of ambitions, and you will see that even with just your location, they can just guess in a correct way your income level, your current location, and all other things that are important for your life, for your daily life. And you can see, for example, I made an example of Meta, instance of Meta. This company collects almost petabytes of 5 million, which is really horrifying and terrible numbers. And the average person's data collected per day is 1,000. Who just enters to Facebook or Instagram, they just give up their data on there. Of course, and we must see the ethics as a compass in this kind of tough situation. And that's why we have to just go through ethics in improvement of technology. And we must, of course, have ethical frameworks such as, from the psychology and also from the philosophy, utilitarianism, deontology, which they claim that all the good things all the bad things should be restricted immediately. And also, we see that technology changes ethics, but there's a raising question, and throughout the whole presentation, will ethics change technology? I wanted to make a cliffhanger of my presentation so that you can also think and ask me the questions. Thanks for your attention. I'm happy to be part of this event again. Please, if you have questions, don't hesitate.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, Mr. Parvin
You're welcome.
Huseynov. And then for Q&A session, we will continue after our presentation. I'm sorry, our presenter already presentation. Okay.
Sorry.
Pardon?
So I will accept the questions at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. And then we will go to the second speaker, Ms. Nomin Tsembel, as a lecturer, Department of Accounting and Analysis from Mandakh University, Mongolia. For Ms. Nomin, the time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for organizing this wonderful webinar. And also thank you to the other participants together with me. And okay, the share screen. Mhm. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, today I have prepared to talk about how ethics will change the future of technology in marketing, because my research area is mainly on the marketing and especially in the personalized online advertising. So today's the table of contents are the what are ethics and how technology is affect our future, and what are digital ethics and how ethics will change the future of technologies. Okay, after reading the many definitions about the ethics, I would just simply put the definitions of the Oxford Dictionary, and it says the ethics is the moral principles that governs a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. Also, there are many synonyms of the ethics, and like the ethics synonym, namely, this is the set of standards to define, distinguish the bad or good and right or wrong. And this is the standard. Also, the moral code, etc. Also, I try to ask what are ethics questions on the ChatGPT platform. And ChatGPT just produced the answers in seconds. And it was very effective for searching and understanding about the ethics. And you all know that the ChatGPT is one of the representatives of the artificial intelligence. Then, now I would like to talk about the history of the industrial ages. Back to the 1794, it was the age of the industry 1.0, and this age is called the age of steam because all the actions and manufacturing was based on the water and steam. And moving forward to 1870, it was the age of the industry 2.0. And this industrial age is called the age of electricity. And during this electricity age, the mass production was available with the help of the electricity. And then in 1969, the industrial age shifted to industry 3.0. This was called the age of automation. And this is the age of the computer technologies was born. And the computer technologies was very new to this age, and every human and every single person was rumoring about the computers. And in 2011, it was started the digital age. This is called the Industry 4.0. And in this digital age, the smart and connected devices transform the manufacturing. Now, in this era, all the humans have the smartphones and they have the internet. And there are also the social platforms and networks was born in this age. And in this industrial age, also the Web 2.0 was born. And in this age, with the help of the Web 2.0, the people have access to the internet, and with the help of the social networks, every single user of the internet have become the content developer, which means in the Web 1.0, people used to get the information only from the one-side information dissemination. For example, only the website owners can disseminate their information, and also only the users can read the information. But in Web 2.0, all the users are the content developer, which means they also produce the content and they input their data in the internet. And now the industrial age 5.0 is at the door. This is called the age of augmentation, and this is the age of the artificial intelligence. Also, this is the age of the human and machine symbiosis. And many studies are developing the literature of the age of augmentation. So this artificial intelligence affects the following industries mainly, namely the transportation industry. For example, we can name the Tesla. The Tesla's driverless car hits the new market. And in this car, there is no need for the human to drive the car. This car drives itself. Just human can relax at the back seat and spend their time to work online. And also another industry is the sales industries. For example, there is the robotic sales assistants and also the online chat assistants as an artificial intelligence. And the next one is the business models. As I said, the artificial intelligence is mainly affected in the marketing area. This is not my word. The McKinsey and company has researched about the over 400 cases to study which area is mainly affected by the artificial intelligence. And they conclude that artificial intelligence impacts mainly on the marketing industries. So how do the technologies shape our future? How do technologies shape our marketing industries? Here is the cases of the artificial intelligence and the future of the technologies. As I said, the AI in the driverless cars. Also, there is an online retailing AI. For example, in the Birchbox, this application predicts the humans' needs itself and prepared what do they need. And also there is a fashion-related artificial intelligence. An example, the Stitch Fix. In the Stitch Fix application, people just input their height and image and the body measurements. And based on the facial image and other image, they developed the right fashion and style that fits for the human. They created the personalized fashion styles for every single users. Also, there is a sales AI. An example can be Conversica or customer service robots and emotional support. If someone wants to talk about somebody, they just need to go to their replica and can talk their problems to the replica, like talking to human. Then the customer screening AI and business process AI, and many AI many AI platforms has developed already. And here is the spiritual support AI. In the picture, you can see the Bless You Too. And this AI can have if someone wants to get the blessings, and they just go to the Bless You Too, and then choose in which language. and in which human voices they want to get the blessings. And there are the many industries are affected by the technologies. But this technology, more the technologies penetrate to our daily life, this issue evolves the question about the data privacy. Because mainly the artificial intelligences are uses the information on the internet. That's big in internet, but the user has not much information about whether the applications and websites that collect their personal information while surfing the internet. And for the user, from the point of view of the user, they want the data privacy. But having the data privacy has never been the absolute right. For example, the Apple iPhone offers the data privacy and security is at the greatest point. But what if every single user has the absolute right to protect their data privacy? For example, there can be a bad person like the child abuser, and if every single person has the data privacy at the absolute level, and maybe some crimes has not been investigated properly. And also, there is much questions about the Facebook algorithms on the internet. And people ask, how does Facebook use machine learning to deliver ads? And we don't pay for the Facebook for using their services. Just Facebooks are just free. But Facebook collects the user information, the user's surfing approaches, and what do they like, and what celebrities do they like, and what movies also they watch. And all the information and also the personal image, other informations are collected by Facebook. But do they collect their information with permission or without permission? And many Facebook users don't know about the information collections on the internet. And after, in the study, one study tried to explain how the Facebook and other websites gather personal information on the internet. And after explaining their techniques and methods, people just abandoned their Facebook and other websites because of the data privacy issues. And also, one person in Magdalena Kuneva said, user data is the new digital currency in the internet. So in the revolution, in the industry 5.0, the user data is the new currency. It is very expensive, but internet users don't know about how their data are collected and how their data are stored and protected. And do the Facebook and other platforms can save their user data in protective method? And what about some hackers hack their Facebook data? And this raises the ethical questions. In the when people uses the technology more deeply and technology penetrates our daily life, there is the pros and cons. First of all, I would like to talk about the advantages. With the help of the technologies, humans are able to live longer and being healthy. There's some applications and artificial intelligence just calculates their possibility of the diseases before they have already got sick, and warn the humans. They may develop this kind of diseases in the future. And the next advantage is with the help of the technologies, companies can replace some human force with the robotic. The robotics and artificial intelligence can be more productive and effective than the real human. And using the robotic forces, they can reduce the company's cost. Also, the artificial intelligence can shrink the overloaded information on the internet, and they just show the right information at the right time to the human and users. The last pros can be offering the right and exact products or services to the customers. After collecting the customer information, they developed the right products and offers the exact products to the customers. And these can be advantages of the technologies. However, on the other side, there can be a disadvantage of the privacy issues, also the bias issues and ethics. And this image shows the Google Maps information for the location tracking. And Google Maps tracks every steps of the every single users. Then they produce this data on their phone. But what if their data is hacked? And who will be responsible for this action? And this is still unclear about that. In the history, Yahoo, Google, Facebook has lost thousands of users' information for the hackers, and some of the issues are still on the court. And there is also, what if the human and technology symbiosis can harm to the other people? For example, what do you think about it? What if a chip is installed in human brain to make superpower human? And after installing the chip to the human brain, will the man still be human, or will it be called robot? Because with the help of the chip, this superhuman can be more speedy, and they never gets tired, and they are more productive and more effective than the real human. And is it good or bad? And because of this issue, the ethical standards can change the technologies, because there can be another choice for the legal pitfalls, like there can be any legal on their personal information usage, and there can be legal force for the using the human and technology symbiosis. But what if the human and machine symbiosis are out of control? And who will be responsible for this action? What if I created another robotic version for the Nomin, and while I was presenting here in the webinar, my robotic version can teach my classes to my students? And will it be ethical? So this raises the questions about whether ethical issues can change the future of the technologies. For me, I think that the technologies should be developed in the future, but they should reflect the ethical issues the first And as I said, there can be the disadvantages. The scientists conclude that the disadvantages can be on the data privacy issues. And for the data privacy, the policy makers can create the law against the using private data. But policy related to data privacy requires balancing two competing priorities. The too little protection means that customers may not adopt AI-related applications, but too much regulation may strangle the innovation. So we need to trade off between these two questions. And next cons can be bias issues. There is the potential algorithmic bias embedded in the artificial intelligence applications, and this could stem from multiple causes. For example, the Amazon abandoned the application that rates the job applicants because after creating this application, this rates the male applicants rather than the female applicants. This raises the questions about the gender issues and also the bias issues. And next, the issue of the technology is ethics. As I said earlier, the data privacy choices may be reflected by the ethical concerns. For example, the two Stanford academics have developed the technology to determine the human sexual orientation based on just the facial features. And after screening the facial feature of the human, this application that can demonstrate and interpret that whether the man is a gay or a straight man. But if this is so much easy, the humans, the privacy issues and ethical issues has been raised. So these two academics' work has evolved the ethical concerns among the scientists. And this issue really needs to be explored in the future agendas. And in conclusion, the technology development should reflect the ethics for the first front. And, thank you for listening to my presentations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and sharing your knowledge, Ms. Nomin Tsembel. And then we will go to the next speaker, Professor Polyanska Alla Stepanivna, as a head of Department Management and Administration from IFNTUOG Target Technical University of Oil and Gas from Ukraine. Yeah, for Professor Alla, the time is yours. Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, I am hearing you. I would like to, I try to share my presentation. Is it good?
Yes.
Is it good to see you? Okay. Before starting my presentation, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Alla Polyanska. I present Ukrainian University International, Ivano-Frankivsk National Technical University of Oil and Gas, and I present Department of Management and Administration. And first of all, I would like to congratulate organizers of this webinar for such possibility to join scientific community, educational community, and for the possibility to share my thoughts, my sensitive interests with you. And starting my presentation, I would like to tell a little bit about my university. We are situated in the west part of Ukraine, and the main mission of our university is to provide energy development, to support our energy industry. But I present economic and managerial department, so we support these main issues of energy development by ethical, by cultural, by managerial issues. And I don't want to take more time about self-presentation, but I wanted to connect my presentation with the topic of our meeting. I mean, how ethic affect the future of technology development. For example, we are a technical university, and we are studying more than 7,000 students. We have many educational programs on a bachelor, master degree, and PhD levels. We have 19 scientific schools within which we propose many projects and technical ideas. But despite this, despite the technical and technological development, we are trying to support this development by ethic issues, considering how people's behavior can affect the technological progress. And previous speakers described briefly and efficiently examples of technological progress and how many ethical issues can arise before us when we are in this state of our industrial development. But I want to add something from my side, and I would like to focus my attentions on such issues that can supplement this more. Starting my presentation, I would like to show some quote I taken from the internet space. Your technology will fail if humans fail. Technology is just a facilitation. It's very interesting as for me because this quote connects human beings' activity with technological progress and ethic issues, like a connection between these two categories. And I start with ethics. Yes, I agree that ethics, like a set of moral principles, include ideas that tell us about true and wrong things we are doing. But when we are starting to talk about ethics, we mean values. Like values is a compass, I can name this, like a compass that can orient us in the direction of the purpose dimension. When we want to do something, we are trying to follow our ethics. And ethics is presented by values. We have our personal values, we have organizational values, we have national values, and we have to combine all these elements to create some stable support in technological progress. We can be followed by our ethics, our values, in order to choose such a way of technological progress to demand all our needs and develop this with security, with protection of human beings, physically, mentally, and technologically. And I would like to tell that we have many, I would like to supplement something, because in Ukraine we have difficult situations nowadays, but we believe and we see the future will be perspective and bright for us. And despite our war problem, I would like to admit that we are meeting another problem, like global problems, and I would like to discuss about this. First of all, I would like to focus my attention to such 4 points. Today we are concerned with problems related to technological development in the field of healthcare and how technologies can solve these problems without harming a person, without interfering with human psychology and humans' safety. We have experience from after pandemic, and technology can help us survive this hard period of our life. We also are concerned about artificial intelligence and neural algorithms that copy human behavior and can be used against humans. and artificial intelligence is based on these algorithms. It is also important for us to understand to what extent people can interfere in the genetics of living organism without destroying its essence and harming the future development of a person. And it is very important to consider weaponization of technology. And it's very important for us to understand how weapon technology could be a weapon or could be other technologies that can develop our society, our human beings. So it isn't a full set of problems emerging before human beings in our society and on the global level, but we concentrate our attentions on these ones. And when I mentioned before, I connect my point of view, I connect ethics with values, and it's important to understand values from different sides, from human being sides, from technological sides, from society values. And talking about supporting technological progress with ethics, I would like to focus on humanitarian values. When we are providing technological changes, we have to remember about dignity, about peace, about equity, about solidarity, about tolerance and humanity, as well as responsibility. We are talking a lot about these issues, but don't always consider if you are trying to develop technical equipment. As well, technologies has values as well, and these values are connected with innovation issues, with efficiency, with security, with community, with sensibility, with accessibility and interoperability. What does this mean? This means that, yes, we are creating technology to help us, to support us in resolving of different tasks. And we have to set some goals in this progress, and we can follow them. And we have progress according to these key values. But the problem is how to connect these two kinds of values, humanity values and technological values. And in this part, I would like to point out on such a separation of hard and soft ethics issues. When I mean solid part of ethic, I mean morality, like rules of right or wrong actions. And in this case, many programs of developments, many administrations and regulations are based on these solid part of ethics, of hard part of ethics. As well, to do this hard part of ethic reliable and the most suitable to be implemented in, we consider a soft part of ethics. It's like situations that could be resolved with subjective ethic issues, like as I noted, organization has their values and person has their own ethics and moral principles. So this soft part can connect these two units into one and support technological changes. And as it was noted before, there are different modern technologies that we are using in our everyday life. And in this presentation, I propose a set of them. And it isn't like we have continuation of ones, because we want to improve our life and we want to protect our work, our position, our life, our security. And every day we create something new. And doing this, we have to remember about ethic, about hard and soft parts of ethic, and develop them according to our motivators of technological progress. What we are using technology in order to improve communication, in order to save our expenditures, in order to have a good access to information, to facilitate learning, to break distance and to break barriers and distance. I would like to admit that we are at long distance, but we are we are close to the problem of ethic issues in technological development. So when we have many motivators, yes, and we have to understand that all these motivators that facilitate technological progress has some consequences, and I would like to point out 5 ethical issues in technology to be visible in nowadays times. First of all, when we are talking about technological progress, we are talking about big data and a huge amount of information we are managing, using, and working out. And in this case, we can misuse the personal information, and as it was noted before, and despite reliable information, we can meet misinformation, and I'm sorry, I have to. I'm sorry, I meet this call. We meet misinformation and deep fakes. As well, we have lack of oversight and exceptions of responsibility. Yes, we are doing something and we don't always remember about our responsibility. And use of artificial intelligence is helpful as well. It's very risky for many of us because, as I noted, AI creates algorithms that help to understand us better, but it is possible to use this knowledge to destroy something, destroy our future, destroy our good habits, our good behavior. And when we are creating something new, for example, artificial intelligence, we are creating autonomous technology. It's helpful from the one side, and from the other, it's sometimes risky for us. And now, in previous part of my presentation, I noted about how ethics affects technology. But at the same time, we have to remember that technology affects ethics as well. And we have, in this case, we have to remember about privacy and data security. We have to remember about artificial intelligence and its development, and how we can use these technology tool to use in many areas of our activity. And we have to remember about ethics on the internet. We have to remember about environmental ethics and work ethic. And when we're talking about technological progress and the role of ethics in this way, we have to Can I continue? Yes, and we have to consider that issue as how ethics affects production, because production is a result of technological progress. And in this case, we have to take into consideration social justice, environmental sustainability, responsible use of resources, and quality and safety. And it's necessary to to mention a little bit about how ethics contributes in the development of technological skills. I am presenting educational area, and we understand that having possibility to learn our students, we have to remember that technological skills they can get from this educational service could be ethical as well. And in this slide, I present the main contributions in this area: establishing a framework for decision-making, maintaining trust, enhancing creativity, and promoting social responsibility. And I would like to conclude my presentation in the way to discuss, maybe not discuss, mostly to inform about the main ways that we can manage ethical risks in the way of technological development. And because when we have some examples in the digital area, in the area of technological development, we can many situations then creates problem for for employers development, for career growth. So to meet these challenges and to prevent some ethical risks in the way of technological development, from my point of view, it's necessary to tell about values, to promote about values that lead our activity. As well, it is important to provide ethical training, and it is important to implement a system for reporting unethical behavior, because when we have some regulations, when we have ethical codes, a codex, it's easier for us to inform people about key issues on ethical questions. And it's important to react on such unethical issues in our activity. So maybe it's a brief descriptions about my own attitude to the issue of how ethics affect future technological development. Maybe it wasn't so full as that I wanted to present to you, but we understand the importance of this issue. We are trying to develop it despite all difficulties we are having for today's. So thank you very much for your attention, and maybe have some questions for my presentations and to me.
Okay, thank you so much for Ms. Alla. And then for Q&A session, we will go to after our presenter already presentation. We still have one speaker again, and after that we will go to Q&A session, Miss. Okay, thank you. And then the last speaker, Mr. Migunani as Head of Information System Department from STEKOM University, Indonesia. For Mr. Migunani, the time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Novita. Good afternoon for all audience who are speaking in the international webinar event. First, I'm going to introduce for myself. I'm Migunani. Now I'm a Head of Information System Department at STEKOM University, Indonesia. I first take this occasion to pay a tribute to all of the audience of the international webinar event with the title is How Ethics Will Change the Future of Technology. I'm very happy I can open today's presentation in front of you. In the next 20 or 30 minutes, I will explain about the topic of the how ethics will change the future of the technology. I will share for my presentation now.
Yes.
Okay, can you see my presentation, Ms. Novita?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the first one is ethics. and technology. This is a fundamental of this topic for this webinar event. Ethics address the issues of what is a right, what is a just, and what is a fair. Ethics describe moral principles influencing conduct accordingly to the study of ethic focus on the action and value of people in society, what people do and how they believe they should act in the world. And technology is the branch of knowledge that deal with the creation of use of technology, means and their interrelation with life. Society and environment, it might draw upon a variety of fields, including industrial art, engineering, applied science, and pure science. Technology is core to human development and a key focus for understanding human life, society, and human consciousness. Ethic of technology is combined for ethic and technology. Technology ethic is the application of ethical thinking to the growing concern of technology of new technology continue to rise in prominence. Okay, technology ethic is a subfield of ethic that answer ethical questions specific to the technological age or technological era. There was a shift of society where personal computer and subsequent device provide fast and easy transfer of information. Technology ethics is the application of ethical thinking to increase attention to technology as new technology become more prominent. This topic has evolved and technology has developed. Technology poses ethical dilemmas for a producer and for consumer. The subject of the technoethic or the ethical implication of technology has been studied by various philosophers such as Hans Jonas and Mario Bang. Okay, technoethics or TA is an interdisciplinary research field that draws on theory and method from various knowledge domains. Technical ethics provide insight into ethical dimension of technology system and practices. Technoethics view technology and ethics as socially embedded enterprise and focus on three. The first one is discovery of ethical use of technology. And the second one is protection against misuse of technology. And the third one is design general principle to guide new advances in the development and application of technology society. The increasing impact of new technology and society and the importance of assessing ethical and social issues. Technology provides application opportunity and has the potential to change society and a global scale while bringing new challenge and ethical issues that must be considered. This becomes more difficult because it seems to go beyond human control. The concept of theoethics focus on a research in the field of technology, and ethics provide a holistic construction related to human activities with technology. This also relates to the right and responsibility the designer and developer have regarding the result of each technology. This becomes very important with the emergence of algorithmic technology like machine learning and deep learning, which is capable of making decisions independently. Okay, technoethics can be applied in a various fields of technology. The first one is computers ethics. The computer aspect focus on the use of technology in areas including visual technology, artificial
Mr. Migunani. For our participant, please wait a few minutes again. I think we have a technical issue from we have Mr. Migunani.
Okay, I'm sorry, Miss Novita and all audience. This is a technical issues, internet connection. Okay, technical can be applied in a various fields of technology. The one is computer ethics, focus. Okay, next year. Okay, in the sixth one is educational techno-ethics. Okay, ethical issues and outcome associated with the use of technology for educational purpose. And the next is with technology ethics related to advanced and bioethics and medical ethics, such consideration arising in cloning for human genetic engineering, and stem cell research for this example. Environmental techno-ethics is the next, regarding to technological innovation that have an impact on the environment and life. In the next is nanoethics. Nanoethics concern the ethical and social issues associated with the development chains in the matter of the atomic and molecular level in a variety of scientific disciplines, including engineering, computer science, and biology. And the end is a military technoethics. Military technoethics concern ethical issues related to the use of the technology in military action. This is a guidance for ethic approach. I will explain for the ethic approach. And step one is the case. The case is technology in the context. Okay, describe the technology and the context in which that technology function. The point is to get a close understanding of what are dealing with. Some discussion about technology are more about positive or negative image of the technology than about its actual functioning and its meaning for people. Because we option for focus on a concrete technology in a concrete context, we are able to come to a fairly precise description both of the technology and what the use of technology mean in its context. The point is to make a clear, understandable description without too much jargon or technical detail. The description must be understandable for interested outsider. And the next stage is stage two, dialogue, actor, effect, and value is the component for dialogue. This step focus on a further elaboration of the case after having delivered a closer understanding of the technology on its context. We need to investigate the possible effect of using technology in the context. We want to know who is involved on which value play or role in the practice around the technology and the potential impact and implication. And actor in a specific context, it is usually quickly clear who the relevant actor are. The parties involved might also be us. Who else could be relevant actor? At a generic level, relevant actor often include a client or citizen, professional user, policymaker, and designer. For example, healthcare case typically involve patient, care professional, and caregivers as relevant actor. Ideally, the people actually involved have input in the dialogue. They don't always have the people who are actively involved in the use of technology. The use of technology can also have a huge impact on non-user. Think of the influence of car on pedestrian, for example. It is not possible for everyone involved to participate. There may be people who present them or who are willing and able to think from their perspective. Academic or other experts have experience with expertise in the subject can also be involved to develop a broad social perspective. And the next component is effect. The effect is use of a technology has all kind of effect. some effect can be immediately clear, where other might occur, for example, in the future under specific circumstance. The first step is to collect the potential effect of the technology as openly as possible, without taking desirability or likelihood into account. Next, it's good pragmatic to identify what effects are more relevant. And the next is value. Technology is always surrounded by different value, think justice, applicability, reliability, solidarity, respect, and autonomy. The often demand implicit discussion because criticism of technology is typically formulated more constructively. And the next is dialogue. This stage is a call dialogue. In the open exchange between actors involved, it becomes clear what the possible effect and important value are regarding to use of technology. A dialogue is an important part of the approach and often take place in the workshop setting. Certainly, if the parties involved feel a joint responsibility for technology and see they need each other to the next step. Part of the dialogue naturally also take place outside the workshop. The conversation continue. Okay, and the end of the stake are stake 3, option for action. The core of the guidance ethic approach is to guide a technology in a society in a ethically valuable way and to guide society in the ethically valuable. Embedding and use new technology. This requires action. That is the emphasis of the guidance ethic approach is not only having a good conversation or establishing ethical code, but also on arriving at option for action. 3 types of option are available in guidance ethic approach is connected to the technology, to the context, and to the user. Okay, fundamental of concept technology and ethic. Technology is just a tool, like a gadget. With the thought process that technology is just a device or gadget, it's impossible for technology to have moral or ethical qualities. Based on this thought process, the tool maker or end user will be the one to determine the morality of ethic behind the device or gadget. Technology ethics refer to 2 basic subdivisions. The first one is the ethic involved in the developing new technology, which are always, never or contextually right or wrong in the creating and implementing technology innovation. And the second one is ethical questions are exacerbated by the ways technology expand or limit individual power, while standard ethical questions are transformed by new forces. For the first one, technology ethics in the first case, ethics in the term of computer security and computer virus asks whether the act of innovation is ethically right or wrong. Like this, does a scientist have an ethical obligation to produce or fail to produce nuclear weapon? What are the ethical questions surrounding the production of the technology that was or conserves energy and resource? What are the ethical questions surrounding the production of new manufacturing process that might hamper employment or possible cause suffering in the third world country? And the second is technological ethics in the second case. Technological ethics likely break down into the ethics of various humans in the efforts of new technology change. In the field of biometric, bioethic question relate to new technology that save life, for example, cloning technology and technology for implementation. And second, in the 2 example is tracking device such as RFID, biometric analysis, genetic screening, and et al. All raise ethical questions and reinforce their significance. The basic problem is the when society produce an advanced technology that we use in all areas of life, from work, school, health, and age, we receive great benefit, but there are costs that must be paid for this benefit. As technology develops, Some technology innovation may be considered inhumane, but they may be perceived by others as creative, life-changing, and innovative. Technoethics involves the ethical aspect of the technology in the society shaped by technology. This raises a series of social ethical questions regarding the technological advance and new opportunity. Before answering ethical questions in the issues, it is important to review three ethical theories to develop a foundational perspective. In the first one, utilitarianism by Bentham is an ethical theory that seeks to maximize happiness and reduce suffering for many people as possible. Utilitarians focus on outcome and consequence rather than rule. And the second one is Ethic of Deity by Kant. Note the obligation a person has towards a society of follow the universal rules of society. The focus on the correctness of the action, not on the consequences, and focus on the what and should do. And the third one is Virtue Ethic by Routledge. It is highlighting the role and virtue contained of person's character to be able to determine or evaluate ethical behavior in society. That people will then make the right choice when faced with an ethical decision. And the next is Relationship Ethic by Lupicini and Edel. State that care and concern both are originated from human communication. Therefore, ethical communication become the core substance for maintaining healthy relationship. In the next is type of technoethic. Technology ethics are principles that can be used to regulate technology, including risk management factor and individual rights. Technology ethics is basically used to understand and resolve moral issues related to the development and application of various types of technology. There are many types of technology ethics. The first one is access right. Access to use empower technology is a right. And the next is accountability. Digital right environment. Accountability is a decision made to determine who is responsible when considering success or loss in technological advancement. Digital right is a protect intellectual property right and privacy right, and environment, how technology can damage the environment. The next is existential risk. Existential risk as technology that represent a threat to the global quality of life due to the extinction. And the next is freedom. Freedom technology used to control society raises a question regarding freedom and independence. Health and safety in the next is increasing health and safety risks caused by technology. Human enhancement, human genetic engineering, and human machine integration is the example. Human judgment, when can a decision be judged by automation and when is decision-making carried out by a reasonable human. And this is next type of technoethics like excessive automation, precautionary privacy, security, self-replicating technology, technology transparency, and term of services. And the next is the end of our presentation is technology awareness. Technology awareness in the relationship between human and technology. Technology is seen as an integral component of human consciousness and development. Technology, consciousness, and society are intertwined in the process of creating relationships that are key to human evolution. Technology is rooted in the human mind and manifests in the world in the form of new understanding and artifacts. The technology awareness process frame ethical responsibility, research regarding technology by grounding technology in human life. The structure of the technology awareness is relational, but also situational, organizational, aspectual, and integrative. Technology awareness places new understanding in a place by creating a spatial and temporal context. Technology consciousness also organizes disjointed series of experience as a part of sense of unity that allow for continuity of experience. The aspect component of the technological awareness recognize that individual can only be aware of aspect of an experience, not is an entirety. Therefore, technology manifests itself in a process that can be shared with others. The integrative characteristics of technology awareness are simulation, substitution, and conversation. Assimilation allows unfamiliar experience to be integrated with familiar experiences. Substitution is a metaphorical process that allows complex experience to be codified and shared with others, for example, language experiences. Conversation is a one sense of being an observer in the individual consciousness, providing stability and perspective for interacting with the process. Okay, is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mr. Migunani. And then we will go to the next next session for our audience. If you wanna ask question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the room chat. Okay, still waiting for question from audience. I will read the question from audience in the YouTube. First question, this is from Mr. Faiz. This question to Mr. Parvin Huseynov. What role do government regulatory body and industry organization play in shaping the ethical landscape of technology, and how make this evolve in the future? This question for Mr. Parvin Huseynov. Thank you.
Okay, can you just repeat the questions? I couldn't hear. Sorry.
Wait. Okay. What role do government regulatory body and industry organization play in shaping the ethical landscape of technology, and how make this evolve in the future?
I see. Actually, when I talked about governmental regulations, I meant about, for example, Bitcoin, using the Bitcoin as a crypto currency, you know, a blockchain technology. When you just don't want to be manipulated by governmental rules, you will have to probably create something decentralized. As my estimate colleague said, Web 3.0 and decentralized internet principles are just only based on this technology. So you have to create something decentralized in order to make yourself more freedom rather than you have currently. So that's why you have decentralization technology, which will also help to create more connections rather than you think. For example, when you just talk to people, or when you do some calculations on some operations on banks, for example, nowadays you can use blockchain technology, but it doesn't apply on everywhere. For example, when we do something, or when we request something on nowadays browsers, won't direct us exactly to the location that we want to send information. They will have some service, and our all data will be through that service. So that's why we need decentralized internet, for example. In this way, you won't have a third party, you won't have a third connection point when you want to connect with someone, for example, over ocean. You will just directly connect to that person with the help of course, blockchain technology.
Okay, thank you for answering. I think it's very clear answer. And then we have the question for Miss Professor Polyanska Alla. What potential ethical dilemma and opportunity do you foresee in the future of technology, and how can we prepare for them? Thank you.
Can you repeat once more? Repeat your questions once more.
What potential ethical dilemma and opportunity do you foresee in the future of technology, and how can we be prepared for them?
Thank you. Potential is great because we are trying to improve our life. We want to make our life more secure, in more security. We have to live, and we have to protect ourselves. So the potential is great. It depends to our behavior. How do we understand really our needs and the ways we have to demand our needs? And this is important. We how to say, we have different level of development. We have difficult environment situations. We have different relations and communications between people, but we have to, must be joined with our ethical issues, right things we have to do. It's a subjective issue, but we have to understand that we have to live in peace. We have to have what to eat, where to live, with whom communicate. We must be satisfied with our life. And the technology is only to help us to live and to survive in this difficult world. So potential is great. It depends to our own attitude, because we create our own values and we create our organizational values. We create our national values. So it move each other to the progress and for creating some technological changes. And I think that despite the different limitations, cultural differences, technological development difficulties, politician difficulties, we can achieve some progress by communicating, by trying to find some joint issues and get more information, how people pursue these difficulties, how do they resolve their problems, and to find ethic ways to resolve all of the questions and problems we have in our life.
Thank you.
Maybe abstract answers, but it's difficult to focus on one. We, each of us has our own attitude to this. This is my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then we will go to the next question. This question for Ms. Nomin Tsembel. How can technology be used to address ethical challenges and promote positive social change, especially in AI?
Thank you for the question. And if we use the technology, especially the artificial intelligence, ethically, it can promote the social change, promote the positive social change. For example, the technology developers should have the transparency policy. For example, they need to explain how their information is collected and how the decisions are made. And so after explaining after increasing their transparency, the users' trust will increase, and so that the level of the usage for the customers will increase. And also, the technology developers should pay much attention to the privacy protections of the users. They need to protect the user-sensitive data. Also, they need to have the internal audit in the system, and so that they need to constantly check whether their actions works correctly, and they need to check their algorithms. And finally, they need to have the mitigation, the bias mitigation, the rules and procedures. For example, they need to make sure that their algorithms have works the same for the different demographic groups. For example, the genders and races. They need to check whether they have the bias or not. I think so. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Ms. Nomin Tsembel. And then we will go to the question for Mr. Migunani. What role do government, regulatory body, and industry organization play in shaping the ethical landscape of technology, and how make this evolve in the future? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What role do a government, regulatory bodies, and industry organization play in shaping the technology ethics landscape, and how might this evolve in the future? This very simple. Government, regulatory bodies, and industry organization create regulation related to the ethic of using and creating technology. The government can formulate a regulation regarding the use of technology and research related to the use of technology. In the university, like research from researchers can create a rule in the university for using technology and creating technology with considering the ethic to implementation of research. This is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mrs. Migunani. And then we still have one question again for each speaker today. And we will go to the next question to Mr. Parvin Huseynov. Okay, for the question, how have ethical consideration in technology evolved sorry, I will repeat again. How have ethical consideration in technology evolved over the year, and what are some key historical examples of ethical dilemma in technology? Thank you.
Thank you for questioning. And actually, I made crystal clear about this question in my presentation, and I give some historical examples, such as atomic bomb, and also what is right or what is wrong according to technology, and how in what way technology can decide what is ethical or not. And if we can just give another example, I would just call the example of Internet of Things. For example, for instance, when we switch the let's say that when we just out of the house, we forgot to switch off the lights, and we can just switch off the lights with the help of our phone, through phone. So we can do that. We can also control the gas, and we can also control other for instance, laundry. But this also raises concern, because when there's a new innovation, it will always come with its drawbacks. For example, when someone who is attacker, let's say, will attack your IoT system, and he will probably manage all the things. For example, he can put on fire your house just with the help of switching the technology of control over your gas, and which will lead to which can lead to a loss of human life. So yeah, this is another example of how we must implement the ethics on technological side, especially Internet of Things. I think that's enough.
Okay, thank you so much for answering, Mr.
You're
Parvin. And then we will go to the next question. This question for Professor Alla. How can ethical framework and guideline be integrated into the design and development of new technology to ensure responsible innovation? Thank you.
I would like to mention that presenting universities that serve all energy sector in our country, and taking into consideration that industry, oil and gas industry, and generally energy industry can provide some dangers not only for people but for environment, it's necessary to develop such element of ethic like responsibility. It could be a responsibility in a variety areas. It could be responsibility before society. It could be a responsibility, I mean, from the side of energy company, responsibility before stakeholders, before employees, before ourselves, our manager attitude to their work, to their work position. So it's important to develop this and how it's possible to develop responsibility in the way of ethic development. First of all, by engaging in the problem that can arise in the enterprise's activity. The main mission, the mission and strategy of the enterprise is important, of course, but in the way of achieving these purposes, it's necessary to follow like a compass by ethic issues. What we have to do to be responsible, what we have to do to protect, what we have to do to act with trust to our stakeholders. So it's important. And how to do this? By policy, providing policy, by communicating, by training staff, by training ourselves. So there are many reasons and many ways how to achieve this responsibility. Sometimes we think that we know about this and we are ready to explore this mean, but it isn't always, and we have to learn how to do this. And the more problem we meet in our life, the more kind of responsibilities we have to explore and perceive in our professional and personal life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer. And then the next question for Ms. Nomin: what are the potential consequences of neglecting ethical consideration in the development of emerging technology like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, or autonomous vehicle? Thank you.
Could you please repeat the question?
What are the potential consequences of neglecting ethical consideration in the development of emerging technology like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, or autonomous vehicle?
Okay. If we neglect the ethical issues when developing the AI-powered machines, I cannot imagine the outcome of these actions, because the AI is developed by the humans. But what if the AI is out of control without ethical issues? So the potential harmful outcome can be maybe the end of the humans. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Ms. Nomin. And then we have last question for Mr. Migunani. What role do education and public awareness play in shaping ethical behavior and responsible use of technology? And how can we promote digital literacy and ethical decision making?
Okay, thank you for questions. Technology awareness is a relationship between human and technology is an integral component of human consciousness and development. Technology consciousness and society are intertwined in the process of creating relationships that are key of human evolution. Technology is rooted in the human mind and manifests in the world in the form of new understanding and artifacts. And the technology awareness process frame ethical responsibility research regarding technology by grounding technology in human life. And the structure of the technology awareness is relational, but also situational. organizational, aspectual, and integrative. Like implementation in the education for education here. And technology awards place new understanding in the place of creating a spatial and temporal context. And technology consciousness also organize disjoint stories of experiences and part of sense of unity and allow the continuity of experience for human. The aspect component of the pedagogical awareness recognize that individual can only be aware of aspect of experience, not its entirety. This is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mr. Migunani. I think it's very clear answer from Professor. Before I close this event, we will go to the next session for theme for picture. For all participants, please open your camera. We will take a picture on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we come to the end of webinar today. We would like to thank to all speakers for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all audience. And thank you for all participants for attending this webinar until last session. I hope we can meet again in another event in the future. Thank you so much for this today event. Thank you and have a nice day for all participants and for our speaker. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and have a nice day and goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Novita.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Parvin, Huseynov, Prof,
Thank you as
Alla,
well.
Polyanska. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
And goodbye.
Bye bye.